to vertical propaganda. I actually have a subject. I got some water still because my voice is a little dry. I actually have a subject for once, which I don't always, in this vertical stream. So let me get this camera and stuff right because we do it live. We do it live. That's cool. I want to talk a little bit about the hip hop, not having a song top 40, and I got to work on my project after this. So hopefully we get a good hour stream. You may hear the heat going off because it's starting to get cold, even in Texas. It's cold for me. I'm starting to become, I've been in the South for now 10 years. So yeah, it's been 10 years. It's 10 years since I left Michigan. I left Michigan November of 2015 for Columbia, South Carolina, and lived in Charlotte about 8 months after that. Lived there for like 6-7 years. Moved to Texas, and here I am in Texas. Hopefully, can get a house over the next year. That's my aspirations in life. Another aspiration in life is doing shit on the mic, doing shit with this music. My EP comes out next week on Spotify. It's already out on YouTube and Bandcamp, and I need to start my own site as well. And so that's fun. That's a synth pop EP, but I also make hip hop. My next project will be a hip hop project, hopefully also out by the end of the year, at least the end of the year on YouTube and Bandcamp. It may take a little bit longer. May take it to early next year to get on Spotify. That is fine. We're taking our time to do things the best we can. We don't want to rush stuff, right? Even though we got a lot of, I got tons of material I want to release. I can't wait to release more than just this EP. All that said, hip hop is not doing too well in the top 40, and I'm finding some of the reaction to this funny. How all these gatekeepers who helped cause this problem are reacting to it, and they're just such trash. Like, payola has been what the record industry has been ran on since the 50s, if not before then. And so you have all this hey, sit your dildo. Talking about hip hop. Talking about the laughability, the top 40 thing. Hip hop has no top 40 songs in America, which I don't know if that's still true. That was true a few weeks ago. I'm giving my little reaction to it. I really wasn't going to react, but I keep seeing these people who helped cause the issue react to it. And all these gatekeepers, all these non-artistic, blood-sucking individuals, including individuals, I don't want to be too specific, but I've even come across content recently, and then you see their content, you're just like, people like you are the reason this happened. Y'all gatekeep everything. Y'all payola everything. Payola's been running the record industry since the 50s, 60s, the 40s, since it started. And y'all don't allow anything that's original to blossom. And y'all control everything. And y'all put forth a bunch of music that people didn't like. This is your fault. Y'all all pushed coochie music and drill. And it worked for a little bit. Now people are tired of it. And you have no answers because you don't you never cared creatively. But the creatives always came through to save y'all asses, and now everything is so derivative, and we still don't have that's a good take. I understand that take. Who gives a shit about the top 40? And that's a lot of people have been responding. Hey, who cares about numbers? Who cares that hip hop? You talk about and what a good year hip hop has had creatively. When you talk about the Clips album. And I actually will check out the Danny Brown and Arm & Hammer. And then I saw Alchemist. I did see that Alchemist and Hit Boy had dropped something. I wanted to check that out. I've been listening to a lot of Synthwave. I've been listening to the Midnight. Because you remember, both sides matter. I've been listening to a shit ton of Synthwave recently. I'll get back with hip hop though. Especially I got to finish my EP. But Midnight's project is cold as fuck. They really went through... They really put that shit together. Maybe too many songs, but they really put that shit together. In any event, but as a person, that's where I stand, right? Creatively, that's all that matters. But I just find it laughable that the actual individual gatekeepers who caused this issue are the ones complaining about it. As it's your fault, motherfucker. Y'all kept thinking y'all could push, and this is a lot of companies in general. They think they could just push anything onto people, and they don't have to invest creatively. Corporations are finding out, yes, you do. Yes, you do have to invest creatively. No matter what, no matter how much propaganda, no matter how much industry planting you do, you still have to invest creatively. Hey, question. And it turns out nobody wants to hear drill and coochie music because that's all y'all pushed the past few years, and nobody wants to hear it. And so the fact is, more people rather hear. You know what I mean? Hip hop is almost getting back to its roots. If you look at 1990, if you look at the last time that this happened, where there was no songs in the top 40. If you look at that era of the late 80s, early 90s, if you went gold, that was great. If you went 100,000, that was great. Nobody cared. One of my favorite albums from the era, '92, Mecca and the Soul Brother. I think since then it's probably went platinum. But I think in his first run only sold like 200,000 copies. We were like, cool. Not we. I was 5, right? I ain't that old. But this is, the impression was that's cool. So on one level, Cinch is absolutely right. There's good music being dropped. People are being able to sustain it. Spotify is a gift and a curse. You get enough listeners, it is a decent income to come up on. There's a lot of people able to get to that point. A lot of people aren't, but you are, and I'm trying to navigate my way to that point. I got to do it musically though. You got to do it musically. There's been tons of great artists in the independent space. Now, I do think we have, at least I well, maybe I don't know. Maybe after I put all my foot into this, after a few years, I'll have something to say for it. I maybe can't tell you yet. But it does seem like there is still more gatekeeping than needs to be, even in the independent space. There still is a payola effect. It is cheaper, it looks like, but there still is some payola that has to be done. Even somebody like LaRussell says he's putting forth, and maybe LaRussell's too big. You got that bigger indie guy, like speaking of Russ, the guy Russ. You know what I mean? They both are kind of in a different space than maybe. Well, no, I can't say that. I mean, look what Griselda is. It's hard to you put enough work for enough years. Shout out Houston. I went to a concert last year. Sauce Walker's another guy. There's a lot of guys. There's a lot of artists that's able to carve out their own niche and live comfortably. And they don't need to be mainstream. They don't need to be on a major label. I mean, that's another thing. Think about how much damage major labels have done to the point you need something like an Empire because being on Universal is a bad idea. You went to see Max B when he came out of jail. That's what's up, question. For the culture. Hey, LDG. Appreciate you being here. Hey, Rusty Gaffno. Daddy Brown will be in my city soon. I missed him last time. I may check it out. I'm definitely trying to put stuff together. We'll see. Hey, Zax. Doing a phone stream. Hoping these phone streams have been mixed. It seems like the more Gen Alpha I get, the more subs I get. But I'm just talking about I'm talking about hip hop. Talking about hip hop's commercial and creative space. I don't think it's in a bad creative space. I think it's in the commercial space. It did it to itself. You kept pushing coochie music and drill, and people got tired. I'm not gonna say nobody wanted it at first, but like at some point, you need something creative. You need something cool. You need something that people like, that actually like. I think they got a lot of these major labels with hip hop got too used to faking everything. They fake so much, but they were able to use that faking, fake it till they make it, fake it until those numbers show up. And they got so good at faking it that they forgot. Maybe on some level, this is the canary in the coal mine of dead internet theory. Hip hop's top 40 situation. It very well may be. As I talk this, as I'm saying this loud, I realize there is a connection to dead internet theory. If you keep buying all your streams all the time, and then all of a sudden, well, you can't buy your streams anymore. And don't get me, you might say, well, why do you buy streams if Spotify doesn't pay so much? Obviously, you pay a lot less per stream than you're getting paid. And the way the algorithm works in most of these platforms, once you get a lot of momentum, it pushes through, right? That's part of the reason they've even marketing your stuff. You get enough marketing momentum and you'll push and get some organic momentum off top, right? So when you took away those bots, they couldn't even generate the organic momentum to get to where they need to be numerically. And this may stop hard. I don't think this is the only genre that's going to have that issue because that's just fortunate the way of the music industry. But I think there was just so much of that. Well, we'll just bot our way to a certain point. Like, oh crap! Now, they joked about this with the gambling thing in sports, right? There's a lot of people coming down on gambling, and all of a sudden you start seeing teams. The fucking Dolphins just beat the Bills. All of a sudden, a lot of mediocre teams and players in football, American football and basketball are having some of their best games out of the blue when there's a gambling investigation going on. There's a lot of talk about bots, different lawsuits with Drake and other parties. And now, all of a sudden, hip-hop's not in the top 40 because we have a fake internet. And question, you've talked about the fake internet. I did hit 1K Islington, girl. Thank you. Who was already in New Jersey, so you made the trip to NYC. Shout out, that's dope. That's dope. Question was Max B. Free Max B. He's finally free. Alchemist and Primo coming over there next month. That's dope. Yeah, you should see him. You definitely got to see him because, you there. Shit moves and cycles. And that's another point. Rap wasn't going to stay in top. And I don't mind some of the tourists leaving, man. Hold on. Oh, man. No, that's the Kleenex or something. Ugh. Sorry, hold on. Okay. Crisis averted. Fake internet and lack of talent. Yeah. A lot of fake internet. And like you said, of course, this was, a lot hip hop similar to comic book movies or similar to the MCU had a lot of tourists invaded the past decade. A lot of tourists. And you know what? Let some of them leave. Let some of them leave because they were not for the hip hop's best interest. Hip hop, I look at metal and metal's not perfect. It's not a perfect genre, but I think they are in a much better place relatively creatively and relatively commercially without being a top 40 brand or a top 40 friendly brand. There's a lot of people who like metal. They're going to keep liking metal. There's always a new band for them. There's always a subgenre of metal. They'll always find, even a guy, I'm talking about synthwave because I'm getting more familiar with the synthwave space. Like Carpenter Brute can do his little, shout out to Carpenter Brute, which I think he is on a major level, whatever. He tours with metal festivals, right? So metal, it sustains itself. It has its own economy. It doesn't have to, it sustains itself outside the mainstream and to a very significant both creative and commercial space without needing to be in the top 40. And if hip hop can be a little bit more like that, that's not a bad thing at all. Not a bad thing at all. Question, you're correct. People disagree with this, but the MCU did more damage to Marvel in retrospect. Yeah. Metal drove a lot of people out of it. Thank you, Lions, for making your draft picks better. Max and French Montana look at me and laughed. It was pretty cool. That's dope. Shout out to French Montana for being there. He better be there. Because, he really benefited from Max B when Max B went in that way. And shout out to, people who remember the DVD era they both came up in. Said metal drove a lot of people out of it. There is a ton of subgenres in metal. Certain type of hip hop is alright like that. You're right. Still never got to the 9 Inch Nail concert. I see. They still tour. Technically, it's always only been Trent Reznor as the consistent thing, and he has a touring band, but they do tour. But it's not the end of the world for hip hop to enter in this area. I've heard a lot of comparisons between certain type of hip hop and hair metal, right? But how hip hop is entering, it's just kind of just re-underground phase where there may it may not be as mainstream as it once was, but thanks to massive population, you don't need to be. I mean, Benny the Butcher has 2 million monthly listeners, right, on Spotify. And yes, I'm more conscious of this shit because I'm now starting to release shit, right? Um, but that's pretty good, man. You get 2 million. I mean, yeah, 0.004 cent a stream or whatever it is fucking shitty. But if everybody streams 5 or 10 songs, ends up like, someone do the math. What is that? 10,000. And then if that's just streaming there, they can also stream on YouTube. They also stream other things. Then they buy a T-shirt, so you can end up making pretty good money, getting to a pretty big space, and not need. And now it takes years of work to get to that space, obviously. But that's not the worst thing. I mean, you want to make. I mean, don't you like making music? You know what I'm saying? That's the point. Like, I can't wait to have like 15 projects out because there's just so many different things I want to do. I got a fucking guitar behind me. I want to experiment with that. I got so many ideas I want to get to fruition. So I don't mind having to take some time to get it done. You know what I mean? SoundCloud rap may have been the hair metal era. Jim Jones. A lot of people are looking at Jim Jones a certain type of way. Question. Looking at Jim Jones. A lot of people thought, maybe he had something to do with Max B not being free. I don't know all the your Rorschach disc got 10K plays. Congratulations, man. What was Guns N' Roses? I guess I would consider Guns N' Roses metal, right? I mean, are they hair metal? Because they're kind of after the hair metal era. Maybe they are hair metal, right? I don't know. I feel like they are metal on some level. But they were pretty. Yeah, they were pretty mainstream. And maybe the SoundCloud is kind of the hair metal. Yeah. Speaking of that, I found Windows 98 and 95 Dreamwave ambient soundtracks. Your life is complete. I didn't check stuff like that out. Shout out to shit. And think about that. You know what I mean? Think about some other subgenres like ambient. Ambient has been around since the '90s. There was a time you had that pop ambient movement in the mid '90s, but after that, that was it. But people still make the music. It's not the worst thing being out of the top 40. I think it might end up being the best thing for hip hop creatively. Bull that bum off of Instagram. Hey, that Lord Thoth. I still don't know why it shows your acts instead of your name, but Lord Thoth. Lord Thoth. No, Lord Thoth been on a long time. Appreciate you being here. But didn't realize how much pieces it sounds to the guy put it all together. God's work, right? So, I mean, as you see, there's UTB, YouTube. Yeah, it doesn't do it for everybody, though. I don't understand it. But I appreciate you being here. We were talking about hip-hop not being in the top 40. Now we just started talking about music. Just the fact that in this era, do you even need to be in the top 40? Is that even a real concern? Because, it's not just a music thing. Everything has become more nicheified. I think it's hurting the corporate world because they've had all these bloated budgets. They still should be able to succeed in this era. If you go over to the movie space, hey, every movie shouldn't cost $200 million. And if it's the actors, I don't know, maybe get new actors. You know what I'm saying? Make new stars. You lazy bastards. Yeah, I never listened to anything top 40 except by accident. Yeah, top 40 isn't even the best. From what I've heard about this, every time I hear a meme with this Sabrina Carpenter music, so, oh my God, this is the best artist out right now? Holy smokes. Top 40 is not that great. Not that great. Tweet not that great. This phone stream, I'll give it another 20 minutes, see if anyone shows up. But yeah, it's not, top 40 is not all it's then to be cracked up. But I do still find it Pedro Pascal. Yeah, so maybe you wouldn't have to spend $300 million for a movie if you're not all spending $50 million for Pedro Pascal to make the movie big and wear his mustache even if the character doesn't. And I don't hate Pedro Pascal, and I didn't even see some of those movies, right? So he was okay. I mean, I saw Gladiator, which he was okay in. I did like The Mandalorian. You know what I'm saying? I don't hate him. I know a lot of people get into the politics game. I don't do that with, you know, that's just, I don't really care what you do outside of what you do, man. As long as you're not hurting anyone, I don't know about the touchy feely stuff. That's kind of funny. I don't really care, but I don't want to see more of these movies unless they're good, right? Make good movies. I mean, now that we went through a time where you had a lot of Jim Carrey movies. In fact, I was seeing that as like a debate who had the best run. We have Jim Carrey movies all the time, or Tom Cruise movies, or Will Smith. Every year you have Will Smith, like for a good 4 or 5 years, from whether it was Bad Boys or Independence Day or Men in Black or infamously Wild Wild West, Enemy of the State, or a sequel to one of the aforementioned franchises. You went a good almost 5-10 years. iRobot. When Will Smith was in a movie at the summertime or at the wintertime, like he was in a big budget movie at some point. Sorry. Oh man, they were what? Pedro to play the question? I don't know about that. Why not give a good? Hey, why not give you the shot? Shit, you like the question? I'm sure no character's gonna be boring. Mando did get boring. They had some good episodes, but all of it wasn't all worth it. It was a lot of filler. All kind of stuff on YouTube for people I've never heard of is great. Yeah, yeah. Margot Robbie is Harley Quinn. Destroy every single one of those guys in Suicide Squad alone. Yeah, and they never really capitalized off Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. I mean, I guess they did from that Suicide Squad movie itself. It did make like $800 million, and only God knows how much money they made in Harley Quinn merch. But they never did. They did the Harley Quinn solo movie, but they fucked it up. And it wasn't even a Harley Quinn solo movie. It wasn't like Birds of Prey. Then they changed the title of it twice. I mean, that was a mess. And then they made it woke, and I guess it really wasn't as woke as they marketed it. I don't know. I didn't see it. But they never really gave her the big movie moment as Harley Quinn that you think they could have. I mean, they could have done a solo Harley Quinn movie a lot better than what they did. Don't listen to anyone or anything for shows or movies. Not make your own mind, make mistakes where I have them. I think the main thing is to, and I'm not saying this is a joke, and I'm not trying to encourage people live, but make sure you have an economical, I'll say this, make sure you have an economical way of finding your content. I'm even thinking of doing like a server situation. Because I'm getting real tired of some of this, the streaming bullshit, personally. I know I'm not the only one. And I'm not paying all this money, and we're going to find other ways to watch things. I don't even know what they talk about now. I wish them both the best, talking about Nerd or Critical Drinker. And yeah, they do have a business model. And I think that, honestly, long term, I regret ever contributing to that business model as a creator. Not only did it just take years of my career I won't get back, not that I necessarily disagree with some of the opinions. Yes, a lot of this shit sucks. No doubt about that. A lot of shit woke suck. But just that really put a lot of people in a victim's place, man. To constantly look out to media and feel victimized by it is a very weak place to put people in. And I didn't realize that's what it was or what it become. But that's really what it's become. And I'm not trying to, it's only 4 people watching me, just over 1,000 5 years in. You can say what you want about my ability to market and grow a channel, fair enough. But, I mean, goodness, I'd much rather not do that to people. You know what I'm saying? I'd much not rather give people a reason to look at the world and look at everything you can to try to find a way to be a victim. While just ignore these pieces of media, ignore these companies, and get about your life. And if something interesting shows up, cool, but it's not that hard, man. There's so much else in the world than these companies, right? So get over it. And yeah, it is a business. Make the bag, but you know what I mean. I think some of the cultural stuff I feel a little bit more regret for. Fan cats are trash. I see the people who want to cast as me and hit the log off button. I don't even want them to do the question unless they get their shit right. It sounds like Paramount is still in the lead to buy DC. I don't really want them to do a lot of these characters. I want a pause and a plan. You know what I mean? A plan that one is going to be on budget. And I'm not trying to say that to just sound like, oh, well, why do you care about budget? Why, as a fan, would you care about budget? I honestly think the lower the budget, the better the creativity. And I also think, because I'm judging off of Iron Man 1 compared to everything else. Compare Iron Man 1 to everything after 2016 in the MCU. And budget wise, Iron Man 1 is going to be way cheaper. But visually and movie wise and quality, Iron Man 1 blows pretty much everything, maybe even including the Infinity Saga. I would take the first Infinity War over that. But nothing else from that era on is even it is even close. Even close, nothing. 2016 on, and that would include even the Civil War. Now that I think about it, and yeah, I would still take Iron Man 1 over Civil War. So, and budget's probably nowhere close. I mean, y'all can call me out on that. I'm saying this without looking it up, but I would guess. Still watch a couple because you feel like the honest Mr. H. I used to like Mr. H. Jeremy Jahns. Sometimes I watch Jeremy Jahns talk about a movie. Think it's annoying that rage baiting is a business. Yeah. I don't like the rage baiting and I don't like the misinformation. And I don't like the emotional manipulation either. That is the incentive if you want to make money. James Gunn doesn't like you. He doesn't like you. Don't like him. I don't think they'll make a question movie. I don't think they'll make a movie with any lower tier character. Not saying Question's lower tier. I think JLU showed how cool the Question is. But anything that's not the main three plus Flash and Green Lantern, I don't think they're interested in. Maybe Aquaman because they had so much success with the Jason Momoa version. But outside of Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Flash, and Green Lanterns, maybe Aquaman, maybe a Teen Titans, or maybe extended Batman characters like a Harley Quinn, and they just don't really want to be. I just don't see them doing it. I just don't. Yeah, you have been cool since '67. They always want to argue. I want things to be good too, but you never hear anything positive. Like they don't like anything. Yeah, if you want things to be good, then tell me what good is. Show me the movies and show me the content you like, and and then what you're looking for out of good content. Well, you should be intentionally looking for movies to like and to champion, so you can get more of what you like. Right? How do we even know what you? Well, okay, you can tell me what's bad, what's good. Hey, Zombie, it's okay, man. Appreciate you being here at all. And as far as Question, if they had and this is again going back to budget. Question if they do a Question movie, the time to do a Question movie is when Sin City was hot. They don't want it in that style. They only did like Sin City in the Spirit with that cool little black and white style. If they did a Question movie in that style, I know it's forgotten now. It's too late now, probably, but that would have been kick ass. But a Question movie shouldn't be over $80 million. And the reason you don't want a high budget is you want it to feel grounded. You want it to feel like a real world, a lived-in world. You don't want it to be space aliens and CGI everywhere. Should that one movie, was it Shang-Chi? It starts out the first 30 minutes. There's some impressive little martial arts the first 30 minutes. Oh, man, this is pretty. There's some real impressive martial arts the first half hour, honestly. And they just drop it for CG slop the rest of the movie. It's like, you know what? This was never going to be the best story movie. But, especially at that time, because I am one of the few people who still like the theater experience. So I was like, man, I just really want to go see a movie. So I went to see it. The first 30 minutes, the story was bullshit, but the first 30 minutes, you had some really good fighting scenes. And after a certain point, they just stopped with the real martial arts and made it all CGI slop, and it was all stupid. And it was all terrible looking. And it was, Then you had to rely on a stupid story, and it was dumb and it was bad. Oh yeah, the links don't work vertically for some reason. But I may stream a little longer, or not a little longer, a little later. I meant to say, hey Slasher, long time no see. With you as well. Appreciate you being here. Hey, Real Wade. Appreciate you being here. Said Fantastic Four was a fun train wreck. I didn't see it. Some people had positive things to say. You in Texas Halloween night was fun. Whatever they said. I heard about you in Texas. I'm in Texas, man. Next time, look me up. You got my. You can DM me. Uh, and that is it. We don't like the same. That's another thing. We don't all like the same thing. But F off and like something. Perfection's not needed. Exactly. I went to Chernobyl Diaries in theater. Movie was hot garbage, but had more fun laughing at it. There you go. Shang-Chi was better than Fast Test 4, 2005, or 25. Hey, Richard. You said Octopus, man. Shang-Chi, listen, the first half of Shang-Chi, the first 30 minutes, isn't it kind of cool? You're like, oh, this is not a bad movie. And then it after he gets captured by his father or whatever, from that point on, it's trash. But the first, they have like a cool little crouching tiger, hidden dragon isk scene in the first. They had some cool visual scenes, and they just threw it away. Now listen, Shang-Chi was never going to be a good movie because Aquafina is terrible and luckily she's not given that much time, but she's given more than enough time to ruin it. But the first half is way more, way better than you would think as far as the martial arts and some of the scenes. And you personally believe mainstream hip hop is falling off? Yeah, we're talking about that. We can get back into that conversation. You're a musician. You're a talented musician who I feel like if we didn't have, you're the perfect example of somebody I feel like has been gate kept. Like way more people should be hearing your fucking music than hears your music, man. And we live in this. That's why I was so pissed at these gatekeepers who caused this shitty mainstream hip hop where everything is just about coochie popping and killing people, and don't nobody want to hear this shit no more. And the beats aren't even good. A lot of times it's the same beat. And so you made everything unoriginal. You made everybody into Future clones or Migos clones or SoundCloud clones or Coochie, Cardi B clones. That's what you made everybody into. And you gate kept everything away from that. And now you're mad that nobody wants to hear your slop on the radio anymore. And nobody turns it on and there's no top 40 songs. It's like, it's your fucking fault. So Disney Plus, question finally read it. Hey, I said, hey, underground artists are washed. Yeah, it's underground artists are washed. That's what we were saying. And it might not be the worst thing that it's not a top 40 song on the radio for hip hop. It needs to maybe be underground again. Because a lot of underground artists are washing the mainstream artists, and that's a good thing. People did get too comfy dropping garbage. That, you know what? You're right, isn't it, girl? That happens in gaming too. Indies destroy big studios because indies drop. Love them or hate them, indies drop. We still ain't got GTA 6. Not all these big studios. You want to transfer a conversation of the game? It's the same conversation we talk about whatever thing we talk about. It's the same conversation where the corporations are fucking up, and the independents have to take the pick up the slack. But with indie gaming, there's always going to be a new indie game. Obviously, a lot of people were hyped about that. The Telltale guys coming up with that. What is it, Dispatch? I haven't checked it out yet. I kind of want to wait until all the episodes are already out because I don't want to. I might stream that game. There's a lot of hype about that. As always, obviously there's a lot of hype about Hollow Knight. You can argue that's not even indie anymore. But those are just two recent examples. There's always dozens. My brother was real big into Balto. Obviously, we played Vampire Survivor. And these are just the mainstream indies. There's a lot of smaller. Your boy made an indie game, mobile game, like 10 years ago. So, and I want to do a small game next year to coincide with release of a project. I think indie games is another space where you have the independents lapping a lot of bigger studios, and bigger studios make obvious mistakes. They think because of their size, they don't have to be corrected. And now you're going to have a lot of other people, I don't know what I'm doing this, who independently lap them. Now, it's the biggest issue for independent art is visibility. With every, visible, but honestly, that's a big issue for a lot of even mainstream art. So it is what it is. All I'm saying is this is the got to be most of my tracks you got. Really? I'm glad that is. Your music's good, Zombie. Oh, OG, 50% of the sales is indie. That's incredible. And also remember, that's probably, if that sells money, remember, indie games are a lot cheaper too. So they're probably selling more games overall. Doing way better production than most. Yes, you are. Your music needs to be out there, bro. Your music needs to be out there. And I hope you get your music out there. I wish you the best, man. If ever anything I can do to help, please let me know. I'm sitting there trying to get my music out there. By the way, on Spotify next week. And actually tomorrow I need to do a music video to release on the same day. I just saw a video of that as well, like one or two guys over the weekend. It's the team and Pizza, yep. Toot your horn. Yeah, please toot your horn and keep grinding, man. And keep releasing. I think you should release even instrumental stuff. Because your instrumental stuff is cold. And I think, I would hate to be just a producer. That's why I'm an artist now. I think of myself as a producer artist. I would hate to be either. I would hate to depend on anyone else as an artist or a producer. Like, oh man, I'm waiting for the beats, or I just would hate to do that. So that's a lot tougher. So try to be the artist too, or I know you got your boy JT the Kid. If you got artists, maybe put together. I just saw who just did a producer track, a producer EP, but he had a bunch of different artists. I'll hop on some, you know what I mean, if I can. I have to hop on anything if you want me to. Put together like 7 songs of different artists who would give you a free verse, and put together your own shit off of your beats. You know what I'm saying? And put that shit out there and put it out on Spotify and do all that shit. You know what I'm saying? Do shit like that. Or even if you don't want to use Spotify, you want to just put it out on YouTube and Bandcamp and SoundCloud. Do that, whatever you want to do. But you know what I mean? You should definitely get your music out there, man. Your shit is cold as fuck. Schedule 1. Oh, yeah, I see Schedule 1. One dude made that? Wow. Yeah, DC Universe will never die, bro. DC Universe and TNA Wrestling will never die. Stardew Valley was super. One dude. Yeah. That's crazy. Look how big that game is. And yeah, there is pushback against the AI slop. We'll see where it goes. Slop is the least worried part about AI. Yeah, that ain't true. Very true. Yeah, Dolph, it's good to see you again. It's usually I don't show my content. I talk about the subscription vacuum. If you subscribe to somebody, you'll never see them again. So yeah, I appreciate you being here, man. I've been streaming the whole time. Feel free to show up again if you can. You can remember to, man. You can turn off the slot. Yeah, when AI starts, which it already is, we already got those AI driving cars crashing into shit, and then I'm trying to cover it up. Anyone working behind the Destiny's AI is I'm more worried about AI taking my job, but I know that they won't do it yet. AI is not close yet, but 5 years from now, maybe. We'll see. AI has some other issues. AI has a physical issue. Nobody wants those data centers sapping all the resources. Nobody wants those data centers near them, and now that that's the pushback that's going to be more beneficial. It's like those data centers, they fuck up. They just fuck up the city next year. The electricity goes up, the water goes up, the availability of both goes down, amongst other things. Only God knows whatever health impact there is, and so nobody really wants to build AI data center near them. Even if you go in the middle of nowhere, there's still somebody there. They're going to say no. So hopefully that's another pushback. Now, if they got a lot of money, they can push a lot of things. But then there's nothing. They have to be in certain places because you need water. You need a lot of water. So you can't just go to a totally landlocked area. So we will see how that turns out. But I think that's another pushback that's helpful. Is that not only do not people not like the AI content, and there's a pushback from fans, which is, I'm grateful for. Just like, okay, I'm cool to see that. But there's a pushback just actually the physical stuff required to make AI. It takes a lot of resources, and there's almost no way to not siphon those resources off of the community. What the fuck community was AI siphoning off their resources? And the one was in Microsoft. One of their conference calls leaked, and the lawyer from Microsoft or from whatever company, it might not have been Microsoft, I think it was though. It said, yeah, nobody wants a data center near them, and these are the reasons why. They're just going over it, so it's not like they don't know this. So they're just trying to figure out a way around it. I don't know, if we could actually, everybody wants to be all political. Right, everybody loves politics. I think part of that is the shittification that we talk about with corporate art, because things have gotten so shitty. And now politics is some of the best entertainment you can get right now, right? But you wouldn't want to be political. Stop an AI data center from building in your area. If you can't do shit else, I don't care if you're on the right. I don't care if you're on the left. I don't give a fuck what your pronouns are. I don't give a fuck what you voted for. If you can keep AI data centers out of whatever area near you that you have power over, that's something you could do. You want to talk about some shit you could do? That's something you could do to the best of your ability. You will be doing the world a grand service. Your small part. The power requirements of AI are massive. Needs nuclear expansion. That can solve a lot of problems, nuclear expansion. What's the difference between fusion and fission? It's a slight plug. But no, like nuclear would solve all these problems, but it's scary, so we'll never do it. Starting to fill in with these small footprint reactors. They can put a solar panel on the roof of the data center. Yeah, they've been garbage since 1960, as Islington Girl, a.k.a. OG, is saying. But yeah, man, unless they're going to go to a nuclear situation, which will solve all these problems, and maybe long term we will get there. That fear will go out, and we'll just, I get it because we don't trust other humans. We don't trust other humans to not. We saw Homer Simpson for 20 years. We think something will fuck up. But for the energy needs and for the resources used, I don't see anything better than nuclear. Not realistically. Unless they're, Tesla-free energy is released or something like that, there's nothing better. And listen, please enlighten me if I'm getting correct, but I don't see it. I don't see it. The solar panels never really revolutionized anything. So yeah. All right, guys, this has been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun. I only want to do like close to an hour. I think I'm gonna get out of here, but I might stream a game later. And next week I'm trying to get some indie games so I can stream more stuff. Unless we have a huge tech breakthrough, nuclear is the future. Invest now. Yeah, that's what I think. But who knows? It may take forever for them to actually get to that point. In any event, I'm gonna go ahead and get off this stream and stop doing my part to shitify the entertainment business. No. If you like the video, please like the video. If you're so obliged to share and subscribe, please do that. And even if you do none of these things, thank you for watching. Thank you for your time. Good night and God bless. Surprised no Generation Alpha showed up. Where was all the 6'7" skibbity rizzers? All right, peace.